there, welcome back to the Board Game Specialists. I'm Carla.
And I'm Melanie.
And this is episode 29, and today we are talking about our top 9 content creators on YouTube. So, before we start that, I do have one mention I didn't put on my list because one of us here is a YouTuber as well, and that's Melanie. And your YouTube channel is called Boardgame Mama?
Boardgame Mama.
Yeah. Boardgame Mama.
Yeah.
And you will just...
Or my man, whatever's easier.
Yeah. Talk about what you... Like, what kind of videos you post on there.
Yeah, so I tend to do a top 9 of the month at the end of each month. Now, I haven't done it in June yet. And I didn't do it for July because I've only played one game in July, so it's going to be a very pathetic video. So I'm probably just going to be doing that here pretty quick and combine the two together. I've posted our podcast actually on there as well. And then I just recently moved and unboxed all my collections. So while I was at it, I did an unboxing video for each box that I had. So that was 26 different boxes of board games that I unpacked from my whole collection. So when that one is done, I'm going to be doing like the grand showcase of what my board game room looks like now. And yeah, it's kind of, well, I do the game night, date night as well, once a month. And kind of whatever tickles my fancy, I guess.
Yeah, it's awesome. Good job. All right, well, what have you been playing lately?
Oh, actually, I mean, like the last time we recorded wasn't all that long ago, so I haven't played a whole lot in between. But me and Patrick, because it was Sunday, and then I do screenless Sunday, right? So, and it was just Patrick at home because Jerome was working and the other kids weren't home. So it's just Patrick. And then I texted him, I was like, hey, 15 minutes, it's screenless Sunday starting. So then 15 minutes later, I shut off the Wi-Fi. So it comes down to the game room. I was like, oh, do you want to play a game? And he's like, what else is there to do? We ended up playing Kero. Or Kero. So, and that's such a neat game. I was so impressed with it. Now, I was really super impressed when I bought it because I bought it at Gobfest. It was at the flea market. And it was like at the very end, there was only a few games left on the table. And I was looking at that one. And I was like, well, would you take this much? He's like, yeah, sure. And then so I bought it and I didn't open it. I didn't really look into it all that much. And then I got home and I opened it and they have these little tanker truck sand timers in there. And I was like, oh, and Lee was in the living room and he's like, what is wrong with you? I was like, such an amazing component. I've never, like, that's probably my favorite game component that I've come across. I didn't know I had purchased it, but you have these little tanker trucks that are sand timers, and the way that it works, it's a 2-player game. It's futuristic. Kerosene is a really hot commodity, and you're kind of going out trying to take control of new territories and kind of collect these cards and then trying to find more fuel and different things like that. And when you're going out doing these things, you have to put your truck on the back and the sand is going down because you're using up fuel and you're rolling the dice trying to roll different combination to kind of meet up what is required to collect the card or to kind of roll what you need to put one of your kind of worker thing on one of the territories. And you're doing that as fast as you can because you're wasting the fuel. You can stop at any time. You can keep rolling as long as you want unless you roll a fire symbol and then that dice is burnt. Then you can't use it. So it was so cool. So then you're like, okay, good, I'm done. And you kind of put your tanker truck back down. And then you also have the option to fuel up your truck if you wish. But then you have to spend one of your jerry cans. And then one person that's going to be fueling up is going to hold their tanker truck on its nose, basically, to kind of refuel its tank. And then the other player's rolling all the dice, and as soon as they roll all fires, then that's it. You got to stop fueling up. So you're trying to roll as fast as possible so they don't get too much fuel. And it was so neat. It was so neat. I was so impressed with it. Me and Patrick had a great time with that one. So that was Kero. How about you? What did you play?
That you played?
No, actually, that was it for me.
Okay, that was it. Yeah, we had a bit of a game day yesterday, so we played, the first one I put on the table, had ready, set up, was Naramata. Now, this is a game that I backed on Kickstarter. And it's a Canadian homemade game, not homemade, but a Canadian made game. And it is about the Naramata Trail in Okanagan. So that's a 20-minute tour of like 40 different wineries. I think it's 40, not 40 on the board, but there is that many, which is nuts. Like to be within 20 minutes and have all these, like they're growing and everything, all the wineries in that distance. But it's really neat because it's the board has the trail on it, and then it kind of has like an aspect like Tokaido or parks where you're moving along the trail and you can't ever go backwards, but you do it like over a few days. So you'll do one whole trail and that's one day, then you'll go back and do another day and then another day. And so as you're going on the trail, you'll stop at these different wineries, and some of them will have like a cheese tasting or wine tasting, or some of them you can get a contract at a signature winery to, you'll get to take one of the bottles, and then next day that you come back there, you'll get to do all those actions for a little bit cheaper time, because it's all measured in time. So each thing that you do, like either a wine tasting or a cheese tasting, you'll have to take up 30 minutes or an hour, and then you will move up the track with your little meeple, and whoever's like still behind gets to go next. So it's kind of got that time aspect too. And what you're doing is kind of set collecting, because you have these not visitors, I guess they're just your clients that you are driving in your vehicle, and you'll have a bunch of different ones. You might have some couples or some singles, and they all want different things. Some of them want pictures, some of them want like wine tasting, some of them want a pairing, so they want to sit down and have lunch, like a meal and wine. And so there's all these different things you're trying to satisfy them with. By the end of the day, you'll get points for all your tourists that you have satisfied. And you don't have to satisfy them completely, because some of them want like 8 pictures, right? But if you take like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you'll get less points, the less you take, but it'll multiply if you can get all of them. So if you completely satisfy a customer, which means satisfying every single line on their card, then you get extra points and extra kind of money. It's prestige you get, I think it's called. And that's how you're going to buy things, like, because you can also buy wine too, and those give you big points. So there's all these different things, and it's all just like a big set collection game, but it's a real fun puzzle, because you have to figure out, well, I got to go here, but if I go too far ahead, I'm not going to have any more cheese places to stop at. So I got to wait and stop back here, and I have no money to buy wine, but I need wine for my customers, so I'm going to have to make a pit stop to get some more money. And it's really neat. And I'm just so happy that it's in Canada, and I've actually been on the Naramata Trail and have visited some of these wineries. So it's really cool. So that was the first one we played. And then we played Steampark. Now this is an older game, and it's about robots going to a theme park. And it's got a real-time aspect to it, where you're rolling dice, and you want to get all these actions off your dice. And once you get the ones you want, you stop and grab the first ticket, and then everybody else has a little more time to get theirs. And then you'll each take these actions, whether you're putting some rides in your park, putting some people in your park, or satisfying like a goal card. It's just really neat. And you're just trying to make money. It's all about money at the end, whoever has the most. But really cool mechanics in there. And I've wanted this game for quite a while, kind of watched on the used market. And I actually bought it a few months ago from a guy in Strathmore, but we haven't connected to get it. And then Cherry found it on the used market from another person with all the expansions and everything. So she grabbed it, and I'm like, we're going to play your copy before mine. And I haven't even got mine yet. But it was really fun. I like that one. And one other one I want to mention, which we've been looking forward to, is this little Target exclusive game that Ashley got from some guy who headed to the States that she knows, and he picked it up for her. And it's called Planted. And this is just a lighter, I'd say, drafting game, where you're trying to acquire all these house plants, and you're trying to feed them, and the more you feed them, the higher points you'll get if they have little leaf openings on them. And it kind of sounds just really bland, but the drafting is really cool, because you have a hand of cards, and some of them will be tools, some will be decorations, and some of them will just be like plant food or sun or water. And so you'll draft one card and then you'll pass your deck on to the next person. You'll play that card and then they'll pass you their cards and then you'll draft again. And I think you get about 8 cards each round. And so depending what you need for your plants, or you could give up a card to grab another plant, but you have to balance, enough decorations, which are end game points, and tools, which give you like bonuses throughout the game, and enough plants. So it's really cool, and just like a lighter, I'm trying to think what I'd compare this to. Like it has kind of a Seven Wonders aspect to it, but then the set collection is a little bit different. It's really neat, and the components are just amazing for like a Target $20 game. They're just awesome. It was really cool. And we kind of were playing it wrong the first round, and we're just like, what? This doesn't really make sense. And then we kind of kept looking, the rule book looking, and we're like, oh, okay, yeah, now we get it. So the last round, we actually played it correct. But that's what we played last night. A couple of the games we played last night anyway. But let's get on to the heart of the episode here. We are going to talk about some YouTuber board game content creators. Now, was this an easy list for you?
I watch a lot of YouTube channels, like board game YouTube channels. I like to follow a lot of them. So my list was, so what I did is I kind of went with which one I tend to watch the most right now. And then kind of did a quick list on that, and then I sorted through them. I knew right away who my top one was. I have a favorite for sure. Yes, I knew who was my top one. Then I was kind of like, okay, well, where's the other one? And I like YouTube channels that post regularly. I like channels that, like different aspect of when, like I'll have my go-to for videos I want to learn how to play, and I'll have my go-to for videos that for reviews, or different things like that. So I'll have kind of my different go-tos for that. But yeah, and that was kind of okay, because there's a lot out there, and there's a lot of great content out there.
There's a lot, yeah.
And then even just in our area here, like we have great YouTubers local here that I like to follow as well. And unfortunately, you can't put everybody on the list. So it's a tougher list. How about for you? How was it for you?
It was tough. Yeah, it was tough. I've been watching board game content for, I'd say, about 5 years now. And what got me into it was a few channels, but then it just kind of spiraled off of there. And I watch a lot of the channels. So how I did my list was I went through my big list of my subscribed YouTube channels, and I looked at them and thought, okay, well, which one would if I thought of a game, just any game, and if I typed in that game and if they came up, would I click on them first? Because, so it's my go-tos who I'm just so comfortable with, and I know, for sure I will check theirs out, and maybe someone else's, but sometimes I'll watch 3 or 4 for one game just because I want different opinions, and some of them I know are very similar to my likes. So then I will definitely go to them. But it was a hard list because I have a lot. There's so many good ones out there, and they put their heart and soul into this. And I really respect them for that. I'd love to do that one day, but I don't know that I have that in me. So kudos to you, Melanie, for doing that and all the work and time you put in for that, because I know it's a lot. It's not just the video you see is not the only work that's involved in that stuff. There's so much more. But so do you have any honorable mentions?
I do. I have one.
Okay.
This is the channel that really got me into watching board game content on YouTube, and that's Tabletop with Will Wheaton.
Oh yeah,
I have watched every single one of them, and we watched the kids would actually watch them with me. I think Tabletop is kind of revamped now, and they're still doing it, but the Will Wheaton series is by far my favorite, and it was just such a neat way to see the game, and then how they kind of talked in between, it's. It was so very well produced. You could tell that there was professional behind it. And I think it it entertained a lot of people, and a lot of people were sad to see it go. But that's my honorable mention, Tabletop.
That's a good one, because I think he really put board games on the map. You know, made them, I could say cool.
Yeah.
It was still like sort of his own, I shouldn't say like geeky way, but I mean, it was definitely an eye-opener when people are like, oh, these people are playing, these celebrities are playing board games? Like, what? But I think he definitely put his mark on the map. Like, that was something, for sure. So, good one. That's a very good one. I didn't mention, I didn't have him down because, I mean, he's not on anymore. I wish he would do those because they were so fun.
Exactly. But, I mean, still, every once in a while will go watch the old episodes. Just so if you haven't watched a Tabletop series, I highly recommend you go and watch the old episodes. Oh yeah.
I just had
a lot of games I got were from those.
They're fun. I have 2 honorable mentions just because they didn't make my top 9, but the first one is one that I had watched for years, and they kind of came on the air, went off the air, came back on, back off, and now they are back on again as Ant Lab Games. So this is a young couple who basically did playthroughs. Like, they did the odd review or the odd top 10, very, very rare, which really liked all of it. I loved all their content. And they were such a calming couple. Like, they're very, I don't know how to put it. I would watch them before I go to sleep. I would lay in bed, have my laptop up, and, almost fall asleep because it was still interesting enough for me to watch, but their voices were so calming. Because some of these YouTubers that I'm going to list, I couldn't watch them before bed because they're very hyper and very full of energy, and I love them, but they're not the ones you want to watch before bed. So they were good. But one thing that happened to them was someone had tried to cancel them, which I hate that in this community. What the purpose was, like, whatever. But so they actually, cut off their channels. They just didn't want to put up with any of it. And then they reopened it to a new name. And then they actually developed a new board game website. So it's called Nexus.
Oh.
Have you heard of this?
No.
Yeah, it's called Nexus. I think of that.
We'll have to add it in the notes.
I'll put it in the comments. Yeah. But so they actually had, like, the Boardgame Geek site. They have a new one. And the reason they did that was because on the Boardgame Geek site, you can actually, there's lots of open channels where you can, like, slam people and do all kinds of negative things. And they wanted to have a channel where you can't do any of that. So it's kind of neat, and it's really new and fresh. But you can also, like, upload your board game list on there, and, do all the same things you can on the Boardgame Geek site. And then, so they just recently opened up Ant Lab Games again, because they said, I mean, these are our roots. This is what we did, and we are going to continue being Ant Lab Games. But they do put them on the Board Game Nexus site, because they will also have, like, they have a whole YouTube channel as well, and they'll put other content creators on there. But anyway, that's one of them. And then the second one is a Canadian couple, and they're out east, and they're called Foster the Meeple. And this is Jeff and Jamie. I love them. I didn't mention Ant Lab Games is Anthony and Francis. That's their names. But anyway, Foster the Meeple, Jeff and Jamie. And they're the cutest little couple you'll ever see. Like, they are just adorable. And she's so full of energy. And they're just really cute. They do all kinds of top 10s. They do, like, they'll do a whole board game weekend and do it in real quick form. Mm-hmm. They'll go through their Shelf of Shame. They'll do their hauls. They do it all. Like, they are very, very, very common on there. Like, I'm sure they're on a couple times a week, I would say. But they're really fun. I like them. And that's
probably, yeah.
Yeah, Jeff.
This is a new one that I've kind of discovered just recently. So I started watching them just in the last month.
Oh, really? Yeah.
So I hadn't come across them before. So that's why they haven't quite made but I've been watching them quite a bit lately.
And I think they've been around over a year. I think they had their anniversary not too long ago. And they always shout out other content creators and all kinds of things. So that's one thing I love about content creators is they all will hype up other ones. They're not just all about themselves. They want to, like, spread the community on their Discords. They're connected to a bunch of other ones. They go and visit other
Right.
content creators. Like it's just a big community that they're all, a bunch of them are all friends, and it's really cool. But, so those are my honorable mentions. So
Nice.
what about you? Let's start with your number 9.
All right. My number 9 is a channel called Boardgame Bullocks. And this guy, and you know what? I don't know what most of these people's names are, so I haven't written that down.
They don't always say
that. But I did
that.
write how many videos is on each.
Yeah.
No, they don't, right? They just get it talking. And I'm bad for that too. I don't normally introduce myself. I just get going. But so I did write down how many videos each channel had. So with him, he has 811 videos right now. Because when I start watching one and I like what they do and I like to go through their playlists, and like I like a channel that has a lot of videos and a lot of content. And he's hilarious because he comes across as this really grumpy man that'll like... Right, like he'll kind of swear, but it's UK swear, so to me it doesn't count as a swear at all. It's just entertaining, and it's kind of funny. And he's like, "Oh, bollocks!"
And he'll be like, "I don't care if you don't like it. Too bad."
Yeah, no, exactly. He's really kind of like, "Oh, you don't like my well, suck it up." You know, like he's really non-apologetic, and that's kind of refreshing, honestly. He does a lot of top 100. He does his top 100 games series every year. So I like to kind of go through that. He's doing right now too, like lots of, there's a kind of a playlist or a series that he's doing that's still worth it, where he'll talk about old games that he's played and how it's now, and then see if it's still worth having in the collection or not. And he does a lot of top 10s. I'm a big fan of top 10s, top 100s, top things like that. Like that's kind of like, that's how I find out what's out there, right? And then the new and the old stuff. And so I really enjoy him. So that's my number 9, Boardgame Bullocks.
Awesome. My number 9 is Broken Meeple. And this is Luke Hector, and he's another UK British guy he's got a bit of a grouchy bit to him as well, because he doesn't care about some things too, where he's like, I know I'm going to say this and some people are going to be pissed off. Well, I don't care. You know, he's really funny. He has a unique personality too, because he's so passionate about games, and I think he's an accountant by trade, but he's an accountant. Yeah. But he does so many videos and so many different things, and like puts a lot of effort into his. I mean, all of these people do, but it's and I think some people don't appreciate him, but I really do, because I listen to his podcast as well. They're basically his YouTube channel, but he'll do a podcast on the channel where it's basically just him talking, not actually performing like on a show. But he's just, I don't know, he really entertains me, and he gives his total honest opinion about things. He doesn't care if they've sent it to him, and like if supposedly he's expected to give a positive one. Well, if he doesn't like it, he's going to tell you, and he'll tell you why he doesn't like it. But it's really good, because his reviews, he'll talk about everything. Like, maybe you guys will like this. I don't like it, but maybe this is what you will like. So it's not just like he's going to sit here and slam a game. He's just going to talk about the things he doesn't like and the things he likes. So whether you like those or don't, then that's, totally up to you. But I really enjoy him. And of course, his accent is really cool. And that's my number 9, Broken Meeple.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Broken Meeple, and I watched him lots because he did so many top 10 videos. He would do so many of them, and it was great. There was a period, though, where, there's a lot of work that goes into it, a lot of editing, and mostly because he has these videos and these image, and he does his editing after the fact. So the way that he does his videos, there's a lot of work that goes into it. So for a period of time there, he kind of went through this new layout where he would just kind of screen share when he's going through the BGG website. And I didn't like it quite as much when he was doing that. So I kind of backed away a little bit, but he's back to doing it the old way, which I love. So I really enjoy his top 10s for sure. And he's got so many top 10s.
Yeah.
So
and he puts little movie clips in too.
That was your number.
Really funny.
Oh yeah. But every time, like, get on with
Star
it.
Star Wars, Star Trek, like all kinds of things.
Yeah. I mean, he puts a lot of work into it, and then they look amazing. So they're really good videos. I really enjoy them for sure. Perfect. Yes. So that was your number 9. All right. My number 8 is, I'm not sure how to pronounce, but it's Actualol.
Actualol.
Actualol?
He says it so easily.
Actualol.
I know.
I don't know how he does it, but yeah. So he's got 172 videos. He'll do top 10s. He does lots of top 10s, and I really enjoy them. He'll do reviews. He does like often where he'll go through his collection, talk about every game in his collection. But what's really neat with him is he does a whole skit.
Oh, yeah.
Like he does all these different characters where... Oh, he's good. Like, he'll do, like, top family games, and in between, there'll be a skit where he'll dress up as the mom, and he'll talk like the mom, and then he dresses up as little Johnny, and he'll have, like, a weird hat on, and then he'll dress up as the annoying uncle, and then he'll kind of like,
oh, he's funny.
It's hilarious when he does, and then he'll do, like, he did his top 10 games for date night, you know, and then he played, like, the guy, and then the girl, and then, like... It's so good. Just the effort he puts into it, and then the entertainment that goes into it with these skits. I am loving it. So that's my number 8.
Awesome.
Actual.
My number 8 is Kovray, and this is Ilya and Tyler, and this is another Canadian couple. And they are in Edmonton, so that's like really close to us, like almost local-ish. But
yeah,
they do all kinds of things too. They do tons of top 10s. They'll do, they have one series. What's it called? Oh, no, I can't remember. But just like they'll feature a game. They cover a lot of Kickstarters. They just recently finished up their, a whole month of 2-player games.
Games.
Did like awards for them. They did like the top 10. They did all kinds of things. And then on their Instagram, I think they almost every day they posted a new game, like a 2-player game. They do a lot, and it's really entertaining. It's really neat to watch. Just young couples like so into games. It makes me so jealous.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't imagine just being able to play a game every like you all both are so in love with games, you know, that can just be the majority of your pastime. And you can do it anywhere. You know, you go on holidays, you go out to the park, you go to a pub, that'd be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But they're really good, and they put a lot of work into their videos too. Like, they're all very entertaining. They have 2 really cool Australian Shepherds, just like me, that you get to see in some of the videos. I have one, but my daughter has one, so that's how I say too. But yeah, they're really good, and that's my number 8, Kovray.
Yeah, they're great. That's probably one of the most recent channel I've come across. Just probably from the Edmonton group because they share it on there. And they're great. I've been enjoying them. And that was your number 8. So my number 7 is Boardgame Ramblings. Now they have 513 videos on right now. And I really started watching them because I loved their series that they did, Keep or Call. And this is a couple that play board game together, and you can tell like she's newer into the hobby than he is. And like at the earlier videos was just him. Now it's the 2 of them. I'm not sure where they're from, but they're from Europe somewhere. But they do this Keep or Call where they'll kind of talk about maybe the UK, maybe I'm not sure.
Norwegian. Their accent's really cool, whoever they are.
Yeah, it could be. Exactly. Yeah, they're entertaining to listen to for sure. But like it's neat. Like the Keep or Call one, they'll kind of go over all the games they played in the last batch, and then they have these little boards they put up. It's like, okay, so we've played this one, and they're like, okay, 1, 2, 3, and then they vote on whether they keep this game in their collection or whether it goes. And then sometimes like they don't match. It's like, really, you didn't love this one? And then they kind of talk about the game and why they want to keep it or why they want to let it go, and then be like, no, okay, I see your point, fine, it can go. Or it's like, okay, fine, we'll keep it. Or they both keep, or no, they both call. And it's just so entertaining, and to watch the reasoning behind it, what makes them decide what to keep, what to I struggle with that. I don't call, I just keep it all. So so this is training for me to kind of start getting rid of games. I mean, they'll do playthrough, they do top 10s, they do reviews. I think they did like their top 50 or their top 100 not too long ago. But the Keep or Call series is what kind of got me really into their channel, and it's great. So that's Board Game Ramblings.
I really like them too. They're good. All right, that was your number 7. My number 7 is Our Family Plays Games. And this is Mick and Starla, and they are a lovely couple, and they are so hilarious. I just love them. They actually have a card in my Naramata
They really
game.
are.
So they must have backed at a higher level, because you could get your picture on you could be one of the tourists, or like a couple. So they're one of the couples on one of the tourist cards. It's really cute.
Yeah.
And the art is really good. Like they look very close to the picture. But this couple is so funny. Like and I don't think they always mean to be funny, but they just are. Like they're just funny people. Like especially Mick, like because he's always trying to sneak in games, and they get so many as well, just from publishers and whatnot. And she's like, well, why are you buying games when we're getting all these games for free? And he's just like, well, I had to try this one. So on some of their recent episodes now, they talk about the games that are coming in, and they'll talk about the ones that are like that have come in from publishers, and then he's like, oh, and then I have a few other ones, and she's like, what? And then they talk about their weight loss journey, which is so funny because they seem to compete with each other. But I feel like saying to Mick, you realize it's harder for women, like. It's easier for men to lose weight than it is for women, so you're not really on even grounds here. But they're just so funny. Like all their conversations that they have, and then like when they talk about games too, and they have a whole other series too. You were actually on one of their series called Voices. Is it called Voices?
No, I haven't been.
Oh
no, I haven't been. No.
Oh no,
you at least not
yet. It was
yet.
One of your questions was on one of their shows.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I've submitted a few questions for them
like
for
Melanie
sure. I've won a few prizes on their channels as well.
Right.
So yeah, my name has been brought up a few times because I won Jamaica from.
Right. Yeah. But
so no, it's great. Yeah.
They do all kinds of things like top 10s, couples games, family games, starter games. They do a lot of Kickstarter previews, and their Kickstarter previews, like they are like dressed up in the, like if it's like, oh, what was one that they were in? I'm just trying to think. Say if it was like an African theme, they were all dressed up in like cheetah print, like, their background. And then their son is their like editor. And I think he does all and he's just amazing. Like this kid just graduated from high school. Like if you watch their videos, like I think he does it all. I'm pretty sure. And I'm just like, whoa, this kid's talent. Like he's going to do very well. But yeah, you have to check out their videos. They're very entertaining and awesome, and just a lovely couple. And they always talk about when they go to conventions, they love to meet anyone and everyone. Like they're just so community oriented and just such a nice family. I would love to meet them someday.
Very much so.
Somewhere, some convention, we'll meet up with them. That's my number 7. Our Family Plays Games.
Wonderful. My number 6 is All You Can Board. And these, I believe they're cousins from Winnipeg. They have 269 videos right now. And one of the newest series they've started, and there's only like 5 of them so far, but they do like a rating and roasting your collection. So people submit pictures of their collection, and then they kind of go through and give them a hard time about how it's organized, or the game that's in it, the games that's not in it, and then be like, okay, why do you have that way over there? You should have brought that and put it right next to this one. Like, and then they'll start talking about how the collection is set up, and it's really neat. Actually, I just submitted pictures of my game room.
Did you? Oh, good. I was just going to say we should submit ours.
Yeah, I did.
I need to organize mine better before I do that.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, I was like mostly with my game room, like, because I got it set, kind of started organizing, and then towards the end, like, I was like, oh, whatever. And I'm just putting, so I was like, oh, I wonder what they're going to say now. But they definitely put like their priorities on people that are part of their, whatever it's called, that they're supporters. So they kind of do those pictures first. But I really enjoy the rating and roasting your collection. They also do a monthly wrap up where they talk about the games that they've played during the month. They've done some how to play. And this is another one that is a fairly new one I've discovered that I started watching recently. But I'm enjoying them quite a bit. So that's my number 6, All You Can Board.
That's a really good one. I like those two. They're really good. My number 6. Oh no, we're on. Number
No,
6.
you're 6.
My number 6 is the Board Game Garden, and this is by Jenna Rose. Now, this is a longtime YouTuber who she's had her own channel. It was not a board game channel. It's just called Jenna Rose, and she did like home decorations, planning, like life planning, and like all kinds of like home decor things, even lifestyle things, just like exercise and different things. But then her and her boyfriend I think it's her boyfriend, I don't think they're married, but they got into board games. And she kind of slowly started putting a few board game videos on there. And then it just kind of got more and more. And then people were like, why don't you start your own board game channel? And so she just switched it over to a board game channel. But even before that, she was getting quite a bit of content just on hers of some board game like top 10s or like just going shopping for the day or board game weekend. And they also do some Twitch playthroughs, like live or streaming. She does like a solo Sunday where she does some solo games on Twitch. But I just watch the YouTube channel, and it's so nice, like, because she's very refined, I think, just because she's done it for so long. And she's really young. I'm sure she's under 30, if 30. But her channel is just so pleasant and calming, and she's fairly new into gaming, so it's interesting listening to like her views of things, because it's like, oh yeah, that was me like 4 years ago. Like that's where I was at then. But she's such a cutie and just so pleasant, and her channel is awesome, and it's just one to check out, definitely, because it's such a, I don't know, it's so calming. I just love watching her. And that's my number 6, the Board Game Garden.
Yeah, I've considered her. She was like one that I'm subscribed to for sure. I didn't add it to my list. She's fairly new in here, right? So there's not tons of content there yet. But yeah, no, the stuff she's putting out is great. My number 5 is Watch It Played. And this has 1.6 thousand videos on there right now. And I just love watching Rodney Smith. And he's a Canadian from PEI. And I really enjoy his how-to videos. This is my go-to for when I'm learning a new game. I'll see if Rodney Smith has a video, and then I'll watch him. He does just such a great job at explaining everything and kind of teaching you the game and walking you through it. So a lot of time that's how I'll learn my how to play my new games. And now, like, he's partnered up with, because it used to be just him pretty much. Sometimes his son would come over. Sometimes I don't know if it was his brother that would come. He's partnered up with other people, so there's a few other content creators on there right now. And actually, I think they're perfect match. The new people that he's kind of doing it with. Yeah, they really match well. So that's my number 5. It's Watch It Play. It's definitely my go-to for how to play videos.
Yeah, he's awesome. He's very thorough, and like he comes across kind. He is a very kind person. I got to actually meet him at one convention.
Well, he's Canadian.
Yeah. Well, we're all kind people, but no, he's very, like, he's just like he is in his videos. Like, that's not a persona, that's his personality.
Nice.
Like, he's such a nice guy. And he taught us Res Arcana, and he taught me Corinth, I think, at that convention. And it was just this little tiny convention in Edmonton, at this little hall. And I was like, what the heck is he doing here? Like, how did they get him?
Yeah, I remember Rodney Smith is in Edmonton.
And
what?
Teaching games.
Exciting.
Like, I was like, what? But it was awesome. I just sat there almost the whole weekend, like, probably creeping him out. Like, what else can I learn? But I did get a picture with him. But he's a really nice guy. And good choice. All right, my number 5 is called Slickerdrips. And this is Tom. I don't know his last name. It's just Tom. And he usually does playthroughs. He'll sometimes do them with his girlfriend, very rarely. Rachel, I think her name is. And he'll do questions and answers with her and things like that. But mostly he does playthroughs. And his playthroughs are either solo or he does them with his little glass Marty. which is his cat, but he just has a little glass cat that he pretends is the second player. And when I first watched him, I was like, I don't know about this guy, but he is so good. Like, his playthroughs are so thorough, and he edits them so that literally probably an hour game takes a half hour because he skips all the crap. Like, he literally, you don't see any crap in his. You go from move to move to move to move to move to move. Like, it's awesome. I don't know if he edits them himself or who does it, but his playthroughs are awesome. And he doesn't claim to, like, have
That's
the best
a lot of
strategies.
work into it.
Because sometimes, like, he'll have the scores will be quite off or whatever, but it's really good to show you how to play it. And he describes everything. He doesn't teach you the game. He just plays through it. He did just come out with a teach, which I was like, oh, this is new for him. He's been around for quite a while, and he gets, I think, a lot of publishers will ask him to do a playthrough because it's very thorough and he's very good. And he has an accent, which is cool, too. And then you get to see, he sometimes has the Marty cam on, so you can see his little cat Marty just laying around, which he usually is doing, is just laying around, but it's really good. And that's my number 5, Slickerdrips.
I don't think I've come across him yet. I'll have to look him up. Yeah.
That's good. Yeah.
So my number 4 is our first crossover. They have 225 videos, and that's Our Families Plays Game, or OFPG.
Nice.
And then I'm including in that the OFPG voices as well, which is really neat, like, because they've created the OFPG voices, and they're inviting other creators to kind of add content into this series just to kind of help promote new content creators as well. And then it's neat, what you're saying, like, they're a really neat couple, but it's just the energy that they have, and they're very warm and welcoming. Like, it's always like, okay, family, like, everybody's family, and then they love everybody. And then it's just very welcoming. And then their goal is definitely to kind of bring new people into the gaming, and especially people of color, since they are people of color, and then kind of promote that within their community. And then they have like a local TV show as well for the OFPG that they do. But it's just really neat episodes. Like, it always starts with where they're taking question and answers, and they'll talk about different things, and then they'll like go into the heart of the episode, and then depending on what that is, it changes all the time, and they'll just talk about different things or do top 9, top 10 lists, and they're just so entertaining, and it's just so, I mean, they're so dramatic that it's fun to watch, and it's like, so if Starla won, like, whoa, oh, she won, can you believe, like, and he goes on and on and on, and he's like, they're very entertaining to watch. They're so charismatic and so much energy there that their videos is just so fun. So that's my number 4 OFPG.
They are awesome. And he listens to our podcast. He's commented on our podcast, Mick, a couple of times. Remember,
that's
you showed
great.
That to me. Yeah.
Yes.
He was like, guys.
But yeah, because he's part of the Board Game Mama Facebook page. So he posts on there regularly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he definitely listened to our first one, because
great.
I remember he said something about, I don't know, he gave us a comment, but it's like, oh, that's cool. Yeah, good one. So that was your number 4. My number 4 is Rahdo.
That's right.
So Rahdo that's his, like, YouTube name, I'm assuming, because his name is Richard Ham. Now, this guy has a lot of energy, and he does playthroughs. Basically playthroughs. Well, no, I shouldn't say just playthroughs. Then he'll do a monthly end where he talks about his all the games that he reviewed over the month, and he rates them. And he'll do top 10s from time to time. And he's brought on more guests now, or more people that are in his channel. Yeah. So he has Shay. He has, now I'm forgetting the guy's name. He's got Thinker Themer, Amy Maggie. He's also got Tabletop Tolson. She's a teacher. Does he have another? Oh, and then he has Ruel. Him and Ruel do a show together. They used to do one every week. Now they do it once a month, and they're really good together. Like, they are both kind of similar to personalities, very kind.
Yeah, they suit
soft,
well.
gentle guys. Yeah, that are softies. You can tell they're like just like the sweetest guys ever. But he does
We
mostly
keep saying he's
solo.
a big teddy bear, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, he totally is. He does either solo playthroughs or 2-player playthroughs with his wife Jen. And he talks about Jen so fondly. He loves his wife so much. She is the light of his life. And the funny thing is he will kind of back away from games that have some like
conflict,
negative player interaction. He's a Care Bear. He calls himself a Care Bear, and they don't like any negative player interaction, which is totally fine. And so I think that's why he's brought some more people on his channel who can cover some of the things that he prefers not to, or if it's not a 2-player playable game, then he won't usually cover it unless it's just a solo. But if it's like 3 and up, he doesn't usually do it because he basically plays games with his wife and they play and she reviews these games with them all the time. And that's how they get played, most of them, which is really cool. And he's got a neat story to him because he was a video game designer. So he used to design video games, and then him and his wife were going on vacation and he went into a store and was going to buy a travel Scrabble game because they were going to be camping in a little camper and they just wanted something to do while they were. And the guy was like, oh, and I don't know, whoever at the store ended up selling him Pandemic. And I can't remember how or why, but so they played this Pandemic and they were like, what is this? Like, this is a board game? Board games can do this now? Like, they were just so in awe of what it could do. And I think he went back to that store, maybe another store, and got more games. And then he just, I don't even know how he switched over from video games to just reviewing board games, but that changed his whole life. It was the game Pandemic. And now he just plays, he loves co-op games. They actually really adore co-op games, but his playthroughs are so very high energy, and he's kind of all over the place, and he talks about he talks about every possible thing he could do in that turn. So he usually only will record maybe like a part of the game. Very rarely will he complete a game because he does take a long time to, decide on his turns, but he's giving you all the options that you could be doing. So it's, you can watch a half an hour and you're like, oh, I know how to play this game now because I know exactly what I could do on every single turn. But some people can't take him because he's so high energy, but I can match that, and I really like him. I can't watch him before I go to sleep, but I do watch him a lot during the day, especially in the morning. It's good to wake up to in the morning. But yeah, I love Rahdo. Yeah. He's my number 4.
Yeah, no, I enjoy him quite a bit, and I watch a lot of his stuff. I mean, I prefer the videos that it's him teaching. Even though, they're 2-player games and they're low conflict games sometimes, but it's just hilarious. Like, it'll be him and Jen playing, but Jen's not there. He's playing for the 2 of them. Yeah. And then he'll be like, he gets so in depth into the strategy or the thinking behind the game. Says, okay, so now she's got this much money. Now Jen might do this, but no, she's not going to do that because she doesn't want me to take the trees. So she's actually going to put that back and she's going to come and get the trees because she's going to try to block me here. But wait a minute. Does she want, it's just, you really kind of get the strategy behind the game because he's kind of talking about all like the pros and cons. And he'll do the quick one and then you can watch the extended play. And I always do. Oh, yeah. So go into the extended plays. So if you really want to get more information, and then he'll do like his thoughts on it, which he kind of always say, don't watch those. Don't listen to my final thought. Those are my final thoughts. You should just kind of make your own decision. But, he still does the final thoughts. And he's great. Definitely. He's one I used to watch all the time. Like if I know I'm buying a game or if I have a game coming, I'll watch his if he has one, because then you get that kind of the feel of the game, right? Yeah. So that's great. Yeah, and it's funny because he gets so into the game that sometimes then his voice goes really high, like he sounds like Kermit the Frog. Sometimes when he's like, oh no, what am I going to do here? And then he's like, oh, and then he kind of calms down. He's like, you can tell he's thinking to himself, geez, I just get worked up. But he just gets so into the game, and I just love it because that's how I feel sometimes when I play games. I don't say it, but it's is great though because you get the. So passionate. For sure. Yeah. Exactly. No, he's great for sure. All right. Well, my number 3 is the Gameboy Geek. And now he's got 2.3 thousand videos.
Whoa.
Like, he's by far the one with the most content. And it's funny. Like, I used to watch a few of his videos, and then I kind of quit for a while, and I kind of rekindled my love for him. And I don't know if he's kind of changed something, but I love his game reviews. I love his game reviews, and he's so great with it. And he'll go, like, so if I'm looking at a game or I'm buying a game, I'm making sure to watch his reviews, because I don't know what it is about it. I really like how in depth he gets with it and all the information he provides. And then if he likes it, and he really likes it at the end, he gives it like a little jazz solo at the end.
He gives you it.
At the end, he's like, oh, this is a great game. It deserves a jazz solo. There's like a quick little jazz solo. But
that's awesome.
I really enjoy him. And then just the amount of the content that he has. There's so much out there. That's the Game Boy Geek. I keep wanting to say the Boy Game Geek, but it's the Game Boy Geek. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's a coincidence because he's my number 3 as well. Yeah, he's awesome. I love him. I watch everything he does. He's done the odd playthrough as well, where it's like a play along. He did a couple playthroughs with the designers, like Bruno Cathala, which are really cool. And he was like, yeah, I beat him. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He tried to control his excitement, but he's so good, and he's very passionate about games too. He takes his games and will do like board game days with kids and stuff in schools, and I don't know that he gets paid for that.
Oh,
like, I
nice.
think it's sort of a volunteer thing. I don't know for sure. I think he's an engineer by trade, but I always think that a lot of gamers are simply either engineers or teachers. A lot of them are engineers or teachers, but we're all math-minded. Like, I think a lot of gamers are math-minded. I don't know, like, for me, that was my subject in school. It was the thing that came easiest because there's obvious answers. There's, like, absolute answers, whereas I wasn't a very good writer or whatnot. And then I sort of, like, when I became a gamer, I would kind of notice my surroundings, who are all gamers, and a lot of teachers, which kind of surprised me. But engineers sometimes get a bad rap because people say they're a little weird. And I was like, oh really? I thought I should have been an engineer, so maybe that's me too. Yeah.
What does that say about you?
But no, he's so good and so thorough in his, like, because he'll do a teach note too. He'll teach the rules so you don't have to, he says, and it's like, oh awesome, I don't want to read it, I want to just learn it from you guys. But no, he's good. And his reviews are thorough, and he gives honest opinions too. And it's not just like, oh, I'll trash this game. No, he just gives you a negative, a positive, like if he really likes it, if he really doesn't like it. But again, it's his opinion, and it's just a really good way to like figure out if you want a game. He's very thorough and very good. Yeah, awesome. So we synced up on that one, a number 3. So what's your number 2?
We did, yeah. Let's see what would you go for number 2? My number 2 is Man vs. Meeple. They have 1.6 thousand videos. My favorite series from them is their Chit Chat series, where they kind of come together and do, like, it's almost like an Oprah show, but about board games. And it used to be like they'll have like the 4 chairs. They're all sitting down there and they'll talk about different games, different topics. But I love how mature it is. Like, there's a lot of videos out there that kind of, it gets, like, you're listening to it and it gets childish and immature. Yeah. But this one, it's like, it's serious. Like, it's almost like it's an adult content about board games, like, but it comes across serious business behind it, but it's entertaining. So it really kind of feels like an Oprah show, but it's about board games, and they come together. Now, they really struggled with the pandemic because they were trying to maintain the chit chats. Right. They were doing it online. It didn't always come together as well as it could have, but it's back to being in a group setting now. The team has changed up. Jeremy's part of it now. They have a new girl and I forget what her name is now. But they're also doing right now their top 50 games of all time, which is new for them. They weren't really something they really did before, but I've been enjoying that as well. And it's neat because there are 4 of them now, and then they'll team up
And switch it up.
In different groupings of 2 to do like the 10 increments. And then all 4 of them are going to come together for the top 10. This is funny, actually, because Ryan, which is one of the guy that's on the Men vs. Meeple, he came up as a friend suggestion on my Facebook.
Really?
So I was like, oh, yeah, I want to be friends with him. So I sent a friend request. And then he accepted it. And then I was like, oh, that's so cool. Okay, I'm friends with Ryan now. And then he messaged me. And he's like, do I know you? And I was like, oh, shit, I've been called out. I was like, oh, no. I was like, I don't think so. Unless you've been to the FallCon game convention, then we probably would have met there. And he's like, I know that I've never met him.
Maybe we hooked up.
It's like, oh, no, I don't think so. But anyway, so he's like, oh, okay, no, I've never been to that convention. He's like, I don't know, you just seem familiar. I was like, well, I have won games on the Chit Chat show a couple of times. Like, oh, that must be where. So we chatted for a little while, but I was just like, oh, God, I've been called out. But yeah, it's funny. So yeah, Men vs. Meeple.
Oh, that's good. Awesome.
My number 2.
My number 2 is the Dice Tower. Now, I know this is one of the oldest channels, but this is what got me into actually watching content creators. When I had first gotten into board games, I don't know how I found them. Did I search up a game and they came up? Like, I don't even know how I got connected to them. But once I started watching him, when it was just Tom, watched one and I'm like, I didn't know they had videos about board games. And then I watched another one, then I watched another one, then I watched another one. And then they would do what would they call it? Miami Dice? No, Miami. What was it when there was the 3 of them?
Right.
Miami
I think
Dice.
it's Miami Dice.
So the 3 of them, where it was him, Z, and Sam, right? Yeah. So they would do reviews, and so I'd watch all of them, and they do so many top 10s. You just can't get enough top 10s. Like I could watch 1,000 of them, and I still wouldn't be sick of them. Can't. But anyway, so I watched them, and then they had some turnover. Sam moved away, whatever, and then they got other people that came in, and now they have 2 other women on there, and it's always been regular
Mike's
for me throughout the years. I wouldn't say it's always been my favorite, but I've always turned to them for things. And Z is one of the guys who has a similar interest in games to me. Not all of the games he plays, but a lot of them. So I always, if I see a game that he's reviewing, I'll have a look at it because it possibly could be one that's right up my alley. And I will watch Tom's too. I don't always agree with games that he likes or dislikes, but I do understand him and I know what his views are and stuff, so I can take it or leave it depending on if he likes it or not. It's just I can tell just by him describing it. It just kind of feels like home, it's because I've watched them for so long that some of them just, I don't know, it's just really homey to me, and I will always watch them and I'll always support them just because they kind of got me into the hobby, I would have to say. But they do have some really good content. It's not all good, but a lot of it is good, and it's not for everyone, but some of the stuff has to be for someone's got to like something in there because they do so much stuff. And I did get to go, what's that? Oh, and I did get to go to one of their conventions on their cruise, the Dice Tower cruise, and that was so neat to get to meet everybody and play with them and see them in person, how tall he really is, Tom. And it was just really neat because they're just like their personalities on TV or on YouTube. They're exactly the same. They don't put up an act for that. That is who they are and what they're all about, and they're just a great group of people, I guess. And that's the Dice Tower, number 2.
Yeah, they're definitely have paved the path for a lot of content creators, and they are by far the one that puts out the most content out there. Podcast and video content, and yeah, I agree. Some of this stuff I could I used to watch them lots, and then it's kind of okay, a little bit less now. Some stuff I enjoy more than others, and then kind of nitpick. But I do like their top tens. I tend to watch all the top tens, and I really enjoy all their top 100s that they do every year as well. And then like the little song that they create, you know. So yeah, I read somewhere for Z Garcia. It was funny. Somebody on a Facebook group in Canada that kind of said, is like, did anybody ever tell Z that in Canada his name is Zed? Thought that was
Zed
funny.
Garcia.
But Zed Garcia. All right, so now there definitely lots of content over there for sure. All right, so now my number one favorite content creator of all time, and this is Bones Collector. I just absolutely adore him. So it's him and his wife. They're retired and they play board games, and this is kind of what they do for entertainment and to keep their mind sharp. And it's just, I just simply adore watching his videos, and he'll do top 10 videos and he'll go through his collections. And right now he does the game of the week. But what's really neat with him, like, cause his wife is the one who's videoing, and then she'll talk to him while they're videoing. Sometimes they'll ask something, he's like, oh no, it's called this. And it's like, oh, right. And then his wife is the one that edits their videos, and he's the face of the episode. So he's the one that's in front of the videos doing the videos, and he'll like go through, he's like, oh, but there's a really neat board in here, and then he starts opening and he shows the stuff, and he opens the games and he starts pulling stuff out. And then with the game of the week, now what he does is after they finish playing a game, they'll do a quick video about it, and then they have the game all set up over there, and then they talk about the games they just played and who won and what happened and the details of each. And it's great. It's great. And then at one point, like, it's like they're putting a lot of content now. Like, I don't know if I've mentioned, they have 148 videos right now. And at one point, like, he hadn't posted anything for a little while, so I kind of reached out. I was like, hey, is everything okay? But
you did?
Yeah, I did. I want more content.
Awesome.
But yeah, no, it's great. I just adore them. And like when we made this video, I was like, okay, well, Bones Collector is my number one. I know that for sure. So who else is gonna be where? Like, but that's one that like I will seek out. I will make sure that the minute his video's out, I watch it and comment on them. And like, I just love it. And that's Bone Collector.
Yeah, I've watched him a couple times. I like the top tens, and that I didn't realize a retired couple that plays games. Like, I want to be that when I'm retired. Awesome. All right. Well, my number one, just like you, I knew this. I wrote this down before I even had to think about anything because I knew these were my favorites. And this couple is called Before You Play, and this is Monique and Naveen.
Oh, yeah.
And they are the sweetest little couple. I won't say little. I don't think they're little. But they're just so adorable and so calming and so pleasant to each other, which I think is real. Like, I have never even seen them, like, argue, like, even slightly. Like, it's almost like I'm watching them to be like, are you guys human? Because they are so nice to each other. Like, and I mean, the funny part is she used to win all the games. Like, he barely ever won. And I would just kind of watch him, and he'd just be like, eh. Like, he would get frustrated, but still keep control. Like, but you could tell under there, he's like, come on, I gotta win. And then one year, I don't know if it was the beginning of last year, he started winning everything, and they were like, it's the year of Naveen, because he was winning things. And they're both so smart. Like, they're a very smart couple. He's a chiropractor, and she was a nurse practitioner, and now she has is just a full-time content creator. But they had just said they realized with just one of them being a full-time content creator, it's still hard because he still works. So, I mean, they do everything together. They're also part of the Watch It Play team now, too. So
yes. And they do fit in that group so well.
He's picked a really good group, Rodney, for that. But these two mostly do playthroughs. They will do some top tens. They do some questions and answers. They do some vlogging of just like the month past, but they just keep it really calm and chill, and they don't, you know, have a specific schedule. They'll do some whole designer like series. They just kind of finished up a Uwe Rosenberg one. They did a Lacerda one. I think they've done Stefan Feld yet, but they did an Alexander Pfister series. Like, and then they'll kind of rate them at the end too.
Right.
They're just so nice to watch and so pleasant. And this is another one I can watch before bed because they have these calming voices. They're just calm people. I really want to meet them. Like, I don't know that they're real. They just seem too perfect, but they're so adorable. Like the cutest couple too. Like they just look perfect together. But they put out really good content.
Yeah.
And that's my number one before. Yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoy their playthrough.
Yeah.
That's a good number one.
Awesome.
Perfect. Yeah. Well, this was a really fun list to put together.
Top 9 of this.
Yeah.
There's so many out there, but yeah, no, it's really good.
Easy.
This was,
yeah. That
was a fun one for sure. But next week, what we have planned is our top 9. Well, we have 2 planned, but we could do... Should I mention one of them? Or do we want to decide before we do that? Does it matter? Because we're going to...
Well, the next one we're going to be doing, I thought, was the top 2 player-only games.
But yeah, so the top 2 player-only, which is a tough one for me, too, because I have a whole shelf of 2-player games. And I love them, too.
A lot of those. I mean, definitely the gaming that I get to do the most is when it's me and Lee, because he's the most available to me. I mean, less now that we're doing all these renos and stuff, but and then I mean, it's great. Like, honestly, sometimes he'll text me. He's like, "Hey, you want to play tonight?" And I was like, "Oh." I get all giddy. Yeah. So he's by far my number 1 player. Like, he's the person that I play with the most. He doesn't kind of partake in the game nights quite so much and that sort of stuff. But he's like, you know, my go-to player for game night. Like, I don't think he could handle a whole conference of like a fall con or something. He doesn't have that kind of stamina, and then that's fine though, right? But that's great. So I'm really excited for this one. I've grouped all my 2-player games together, so we'll have to kind of see which one makes the top 9.
It's gonna be a tough one. Yeah, there's a lot of good ones. Yeah. But where can we find you if someone wants to get a hold of you?
Yeah, so I am on Instagram as boardgame_mama. You can also find me on Facebook. My Facebook group is Boardgame Mama, and friends are playing all the games. And my YouTube channel is Boardgame Mama. And how about you, Carla? Where can we find you?
I'm on Instagram at Boardgame Specialist, all one word. And I have a Facebook page called Red Deer Board Game Fanatics. So that is it for this week. So stay tuned for our top 2-player games next week. And we will chat with you later. Thanks for listening.
Bye, everybody.